Okay, and we're back, part two. Let's just carry on from where we were.
All were once worshipped as gods. People believed in them, prayed to them, sacrificed to them. Lots of people. Children were brought up with them, told of their existence as a matter of undoubted fact. Nowadays, everybody agrees that no matter how sincere those believers undoubtedly were, they were deluded.
I mean, this guy, the arrogance and the absolute depravity, disgusting worm creature that this man is. He starts off his lecture by saying that people in the past used to believe in these lesser gods like Zeus, Thor, thunder gods, etc. The pantheon of gods, the Greek gods, and that now no one believes in them. So we all agree that they were delusional. Well, I don't agree that they were delusional because I actually understand where they were coming from. They actually worshipped forces of nature like thunder and lightning. They understood aspects of nature like the moon, Hecate, and Diana, and countless other aspects of nature which were personified, deified as archetypal god forms, which this moron Dawkins has no understanding of whatsoever. He stands there exactly like a preacher in a church, and with full of his own dogma, and just vomits it out over the audience. And he uses this as somehow, this is like a sort of forerunner to what he's going to later say, is that basically if you believe in any kind of god or creator at all, you're as delusional as someone who thinks that Thor is real. Where Thor is real, because Thor's the thunder. Okay, so it's just it's like a circular argument that goes nowhere, and it's just a deceptive lie. Anyway, let's just he can do his own damage better than me.
Every one of those gods was a delusion, and so were countless gods that human tribes have sincerely believed in all around the world.
Oh, really, Dawkins? Yes, because you understand all the shamanic and ancient religions of the world, don't you, Dawkins? How about you go out into the jungle, drink some ayahuasca, and then try vomiting something out, okay?
Everyone today agrees that all those ancient gods are delusions.
No, they don't.
Some of us just go one god further.
What are you talking about, you moron?
My book is called The God Delusion, and I need to make it clear that the God I'm talking about is a personal, intelligent, creative being, like Yahweh, Allah, Baal.
Okay, so the first god you've decided to reference you call Yahweh. Well, this is actually an ancient Kabbalistic god of Judaism from the Kabbalah, the ancient Kabbalists. And if you knew anything about what you were talking about, you moron, you would know that Yahweh is actually the tetragrammaton, which is it is actually quite scientific in nature. It's composed of Yod He Vav He, the four letters, which represent four elements or forces of creation. And it's not some personal man with a beard sitting on a cloud, like you want to patronize people into thinking that they're like stupid little children. It actually shows that you're the stupid little moron that doesn't even do your research properly. You don't even know what Yahweh is, yet you're standing up in front of an audience of hundreds and hundreds of people pretending that you do.
Wotan, Zeus, or Lord Krishna. But if by God you mean something else, if by God you mean nature, goodness, the universe, the laws of physics, the spirit of humanity, Planck's constant.
What, you mean like Yahweh?
Then we're going to be talking at cross purposes. An American student asked her professor whether he had a view about me. Sure, he replied. He's positive science is incompatible with religion, but he waxes ecstatic about nature and the universe. To me, that is religion. To him, that is. If that's what you choose to mean by religion, fine. That would make me a religious man. But if your God is a being who designs universes, listens to prayers, forgives sins, wreaks miracles, reads your thoughts, cares about your welfare, raises you from the dead, cares about your sex life, then you're unlikely to be satisfied. As the distinguished American physicist Steven Weinberg said, if you want to say that God is energy, then you can find God in a lump of coal. But I would add, don't expect congregations to flock to your church. That kind of religion I have no quarrel with. I even subscribe to it. It's called pantheistic religion. I call it Einsteinian religion. And it's hard to see how anybody could actually object to it, except that I think it's confusing to use the word God in that sense, because most people use the word God in a very different sense. When Einstein said, did God have a choice in creating the universe? He meant, could the universe have begun in more than one way?
Oh, really? Really, Richard Dawkins, you know what Einstein meant. Yeah, better than he did. He just used the word God, just, he didn't really mean God, because you know better, don't you? You know better than Einstein. Yeah, sure you do.
God does not play dice was Einstein's poetic way of doubting Heisenberg's indeterminism.
Oh, really? Oh, thanks, Richard Dawkins.
Einstein was irritated, famously, when theists misunderstood him to mean a personal God. But what did he expect? The hunger to misunderstand should have been palpable to him. Religious physicists usually turn out to be religious only in the Einsteinian sense. They are atheists of a poetic disposition. And so am I. But given the widespread yearning for that great misunderstanding, deliberately to confuse Einsteinian pantheism with supernatural religion is an act of intellectual high treason.
Well, how dare you get up on stage and tell people what you think they're supposed to believe? It's disgusting. You're just a disgusting individual.
The Indian-American Nobel Prize-winning physicist Subramanian Chandrasekhar said, "This shuddering before the beautiful, this incredible fact that a discovery motivated by a search after the beautiful in mathematics should find its exact replica in nature, persuades me to say that beauty is that to which the human mind responds at its deepest and most profound. Amen." The great American physicist John Mortimer Wheeler said, "But with all this talk of aesthetic beauty, don't forget that beauty isn't enough." Sorry, that was me talking then. Wheeler said, "We
Just
will
like
grasp
a
the central
preacher in a
idea
church.
of it all as so simple, so beautiful, so compelling, that we will all say each to the other, 'Oh, how could it have been otherwise? How could we all have been so blind for so long?'" But with all that talk of aesthetic beauty, we mustn't forget that beauty isn't enough. It must also be true. And that comes back finally to evidence. Beauty may be a good guide to the stage of science.
What, you think you're going to find evidence of God? Yeah, what, you're going to find it under a microscope? You moron. What are you talking about?
Where we put forward hypotheses, but those hypotheses must finally be tested. Carl Sagan, great hero, said, "How is it that hardly any major religion has looked at science and concluded, this is better than we thought. The universe is much bigger than our prophets said, grander, more subtle, more elegant. Instead they say, no, 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 my God is a little God."
This is just an absolute vile, worm-like, cockroach, scumbag vomit talk I've ever heard. What is he talking about? He's basically saying that he's accusing people of following different religions. He's saying that not a single one of them has ever looked at the universe in its entirety, at the sort of infinite space around us, the stars, the planets, looked at the sort of complexity of molecules and atoms, and they've never thought that their God or creator of their religion is as big as that. What does he mean? The universe is bigger than our prophets said. What is he talking about? I'm pretty sure that most religions, they believe that their God is the creator of the entire universe. That includes everything. I don't think anyone I've ever come into contact with or spoken to who believes in a creator of the universe or some kind of God would look up at the universe and say, oh yes, the universe is much bigger than I ever thought my God was. No, my God's a little God. And what is he talking about? This is just drivelling nonsense. He's quoting Carl Sagan, agreeing with him. Both of them are just fools. They obviously don't know what they're talking about. They're just putting words in other people. No one ever said that. Who ever said that? Let's just listen to that again, because it's such a drivel. It's just quite incredible. And this just shows their agenda, these people. They want you to believe in nothing apart from what they say, their dogma. And they want to tell you what you think. Because I don't know anyone who thinks like this.
Religion has looked at science and concluded
this. Come on.
Hypotheses must finally be tested. Carl Sagan, great hero, said, "How is it that hardly any major religion has looked at science and concluded this is better than we thought?"
Why is it that no religion has looked at science and said this is better than we thought? Because science isn't better? I don't know. It's like, how can you even answer that question? It's kind of like two different things. Let me just let you know, Dawkins, okay? Science is you have the scientific method where you look at things like the universe, molecules, atoms, chemistry, biology. Okay, that's science. Now, when you're talking about the spiritual dimension, okay, is the very nature of the spiritual dimension is that you can't use the scientific method. Well, you could use the scientific method to a point, but I'm not going to get into that now because it's way too complex. But suffice to say that your understanding of science is you're never going to be able to prove if spirit exists, or if a creator God of the universe exists. How are you going to prove that with science? What are you talking about? It's two separate things, okay? It's two separate things. Obviously, no one who's a leader of a religion is going to look at the universe and go, oh, science, and this is much better than everything we ever thought of. What are you talking about? I mean, let's just listen to that again, how stupid that sounds when he says it. It's just one more time, because it really just it strikes at the heart of how stupid these people are.
Said, "How is it that hardly any major religion has looked at science and concluded this is better than we thought? The universe is much bigger than our prophets said, grander, more subtle, more elegant."
Maybe because the universe isn't bigger than any prophet said. Any prophet of a religion who spoke about a creator God spoke about the creator of the universe. So it's very basic logic, therefore, that they wouldn't then say that the universe is bigger than our prophet said. I mean, this is like 1 + 1 = 2. I mean, I feel like I'm in, like, what is this, Brave New World, 1984? Or what is this?
Instead, they say, no, my God is a little God.
Do they? They say, no, my God is a little God. Is that what they say, Dawkins, eh? And Sagan? That's what they say. Right, okay, I see.
And I want him to stay that way.
Oh, yes, I want him to stay that way, Dawkins.
That stressed the magnificence of the universe as revealed by modern science, might be able to draw forth reserves of reverence and awe hardly tapped by the conventional faiths.
What are you talking about, you fool? All religions believe in the creator of the universe. They don't need to draw from modern science to verify that, because you obviously misunderstood what people meant by the creator of the universe if you think that they don't include the physical universe and science in that. It includes everything. If there's a creator of the universe, it includes everything. It includes all of science. It includes all of the universe. It includes everything. That's the whole point of it. Yeah. I mean, how can you not understand that, you moron? Let's just listen to it again. I just can't believe how stupid he is.
Hardly tapped by the conventional faiths.
Hardly tapped by the conventional faiths. Really? They don't believe that the universe exists, apparently.
Conventional faiths. Sooner or later, such a religion will emerge.
Yeah, that's what you want, isn't it, Dawkins? You want to be the prophet of this kind of pseudo-scientific, agnostic, atheist religion. And there you are on your little podium with your congregation, trying to convince everyone that there's nothing spiritual out there, that everything is just made out of molecules and that's it. I mean, it's disgusting what you're trying to do. It's disgusting. Just listen to it. I just got to listen to that again because it's just so idiotic and stupid.
Sooner or later, such a religion will emerge.
Come on. Can't believe how slow this computer is. It's unbelievable.
Grander, more subtle, more elegant. Instead they say, no, 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 my God is a little God, and I want him to stay that way.
Oh yeah, right.
A religion, old or new, that stressed the magnificence of the universe as revealed by modern science, might be able to draw forth reserve.
A religion old or new that expressed the magnificence of the universe. So, have you read any kind of any Sufi literature or Taoist literature or Hindu literature that talks about how beautiful the universe and sort of infinite dimensions of the universe are? Brahma, Shiva, Dance of Shiva, Brahma, stuff like that. Have you read that? Have you read the Bhagavad Gita? Have you read Srimad Bhagavatam? Do you even know what you're talking about at all, Dawkins?
Nerves of reverence and awe, hardly tapped by the conventional faith. Sooner or later, such a religion
religion will emerge. My religion that tells you there's nothing to believe
Steinian
in.
religion, which is what I've been illustrating with these quotations, doesn't involve belief in anything supernatural at all. The pantheistic God doesn't exist, except in a purely poetic sense. Of those people who do believe in God,
The computer's acting a bit strange.
as a supernatural intelligence, many make a distinction between deism and theism.
Einstein God, not a God at all.
The deistic God designs the laws of physics and then retires, never to be seen or heard from again, and is certainly not interested in human affairs. Unlike the theist God, which is an interventionist God, who intervenes in human affairs, performs miracles, answers prayers, punishes and redeems, forgives sins.
Yeah, and how about my God? How about my God that's my own interpretation, that you know nothing about? What about that? You're telling me that I can only choose between your two little narrowly defined ideas of what God is, yeah?
And so on.
Talking out of your arse.
Many people call themselves agnostic.
Sounds just like a
I'm
politician.
sympathetic to that, but the word agnostic does cover a great variety of beliefs, and
This
sometimes
is just boring.
I think
There's no point listening to that.
there's a higher probability of there
That's
being
the
a
congregation.
God than 50%. Technically,
It's him whiffle waffling on about whether or not you're agnostic or
I'd
not.
be pretty surprised to meet very many number sevens. I include it for symmetry with number one. Number one is well populated. I know there is a God. It's in the nature of faith that one is capable of being absolutely confident of something for which there's no evidence. And that's how people get themselves into category one.
Oh, shut up, you fool. How about the evidence that you're actually here? How about the evidence that you're actually having a conscious experience of the universe right now? Is that not enough evidence for you? Is there not enough evidence for you that you actually exist at all? That you're actually having an experience? That you walk outside, you can see colours, sounds, shapes, people. You can look up at the stars. Is that not evidence enough for you? What kind of evidence do you need, Dawkins?
Category 7 is not quite symmetrical because we can't be confident, we can't be absolutely certain that there is no anything. We can't be absolutely confident there are no fairies. Technically have to be agnostic about fairies, but in
Shut
practice
up,
we feel
you
it's a waste
fool.
of time bothering to take them into account.
Let's just skip forward because it's a bit...
That a universe with a god in it, a universe that was created by a god, a universe with a god lurking at its base, would be a completely different kind of universe from one without, and the difference would be a scientific difference. God could clinch the matter in his favor at any moment by staging a spectacular demonstration of his powers. The Victorian atheist Charles Bradlaugh used to stand up on a stage and challenge God to strike him with a thunderbolt.
Yeah, really.
God could do that now if he chose.
Only if he fits into one narrow, defined definition of being like some kind of person that floats on a cloud and watches everything and decides to interfere with every little thing all the time, which is basically stupid. Okay? So that's obviously not going to happen. Oh, you're so clever, Dawkins. You're so
Even the
clever.
infamous Templeton Foundation recognized that God, by funding rather well-conducted double-blind trials to test whether remote prayer would speed the recovery of heart patients.
Well, here he's just totally changing the subject and he's talking about the power of human beings to direct their energy to heal people. Okay, that's got nothing to do with whether there's a creator or not. It's interesting on its own right, but it's like another tangent.
So they had groups of patients recover.
Shut up, you fool. I don't know who listen to that. That's just stupid.
Delusion.
What else you got to
Therefore,
say?
the only alternative to chance that most people can imagine is design. The astronomer Fred Hoyle dramatized.
You see, he puts everything in this Christian view of design, like the creator designed everything. Is it not possible that the creation is something way beyond this dimension? It's created in that even higher dimension, the entire universe. So what's happening in terms of evolution of human of life forms is, there's a natural process that happens there. But when you talk about things moving through higher dimensions, you see, this guy can't lift himself out of the third three-dimensional thinking. It's a subject for a whole nother video, but anyway, some people, I guess, will know what I'm talking about.
His own action as a theory of chance, by likening it to a hurricane blowing through a junkyard and having the luck to assemble a Boeing 747. What he missed, of course, is that natural selection is anything but a chance process. Natural selection.
Okay, well, that's a good analogy when you think about the actual Big Bang. And you talk about, okay, so there was this Big Bang, so there was absolutely nothing that existed at all, apparently. And then all of a sudden, out of nothing, suddenly came the entire universe full of energy and matter, all in this correct kind of proportions to just create all different types of molecules, atoms, all of the periodic table, and just everything that we see today just appeared out of nothing one day. Isn't that a little bit like a hurricane blowing through a junkyard or something? An airplane? I think it is actually. Yes, you're a bit of an idiot, aren't you?
Is a non-random process. Random variations. Even before Darwin's time, the impotence of the argument from design was glaring. How could it ever have been a good idea to postulate, in explaining the existence of complex, improbable things, a designer who would have to be even more complex and improbable than that which he's supposed to be creating?
Again, stupid problem. Obviously, if there was a god like that, he would obviously, or it, I should say, would obviously exist in some kind of higher dimension. Wouldn't be like a person walking around, would it? I mean, what's he talking?
Not too improbable to have come about by chance.
Let's just skip to the next bit because it's just so.
Combination of numbers by chance, but in practice, good combination locks are designed, and bank vaults are designed with enough improbability to push.
Oh, let's just skip to the next bit. I don't know why this computer is so
where
slow.
superstition and religious dogma have had such a firm hold. One indication of this, I like to think, is a wave of books which are selling extremely well.
Yeah, this is all the books about people that hate him.
I don't have the figures for the other books up there, but The God Delusion, I can tell you, has sold more than 1.5 million copies in English alone.
Good for
and
you,
is now
huh?
being published
Good
in,
for you.
I think it's 32.
Little worm
foreign
from
languages,
hell.
and all those other books there are selling well, too.
Oh, it's your books.
They have spawned a backlash of books.
Because you're an idiot. Not surprised. Here we are, look. Brilliant.
I think I counted 22 at the last count.
Atheism is false. Deluded by Dawkins. The Dawkins delusion. I mean, this is brilliant. God is no delusion. The Dawkins letters. Which Dawkins delusion? Yeah.
The quotation some of you will recognize is from W.B. Yeats. But was there ever dog that praised his fleas?
Come on, get on with it.
And just as a little afterthought,
The dog illusion. Very funny. Come on, get on with it. God, this man makes me feel like vomiting it into a bucket.
now, I am not trying to teach facts here. I'm certainly not trying to indoctrinate.
Oh, really?
What I'm trying to do is
Yeah.
to raise consciousness. The phrase
Really? You're trying to raise consciousness? Well, you're trying to raise consciousness, just like Terence McKenna and people like that. You're trying to raise. This is got nothing. This is just bullshit. Okay.
their consciousness raised, which is
Yes, I know. You're talking about something to do with people using the word man and woman. Great.
Boris Johnson. Okay,
Come
let's see
on.
whether the sound is going to work. I hope the sound will work now.
Start this week with a request.
Oh, that's quite funny, but let's just skip forwards. Oh dear. Let's just have one little last bit.
Now, the point I'm trying to make is that that kind of language is perfectly okay. I'm not criticizing it. This is the ordinary give and take of argumentative discourse. And the opening sentence of chapter 2 of The God Delusion, which is the closest that I come to strident or shrill, is this one. And it really isn't any worse. It's actually rather less so than the ones I've just been giving you. The God of the Old Testament is arguing.
Blah 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 blah. Okay, he's talking about a story. He's talking about a story. The Old Testament. The Old Testament, for starters, is a bad translation of the Torah, which is a Hebrew ancient book, which has got a lot of interesting stuff in it. Okay, like for instance, the word God doesn't really even exist in Hebrew. It's very multiple words. There's Yod Hey Vav Hey. There's Elohim. And a few other ones. Okay, so this idea, the God, okay, this is just a sort of modern Christian idea. Okay, So his whole argument is just against. He should just call it the Christian delusion, not the God delusion. That's what he's actually talking about. He's talking about Christians being deluded. He never ever. He doesn't seem to ever talk about Buddhists, Taoists, Sufis, or any kind of New Age spirituality or anything, or psychedelic like DMT research and stuff like that. He just talks about Christianity. He's stuck in this one paradigm.
Arguably the most unpleasant character in all fiction.
Okay, whatever. Let's skip